Heidi ho, my peeps. I don't know what possessed me to turn on my camera tonight. I have another gardening update video that I shot and edited, and then I looked at it and I'm like, why would you guys want to see one more video of my unfinished garden and me talking about the same old junk? It's like, no, I just didn't want to subject you to that. So I'm talking to my daughter in Nebraska, and we were talking about self-care, and I was sitting here with my 47X mirror looking at every tiny little marionette line wrinkle within a wrinkle and all the hairs on my upper lip and my chin, and looking at my eyebrows and thinking, oh my gosh, it's over. I mean, take me now, Jesus, because it is over. And then I realized, no, it's not over. I am so lucky in so many ways. So what if I'm getting older? It's, that's something to celebrate, not to, obsess about. So I'm celebrating with a very ancient sheet mask I got at Dollar Tree like 7 years ago. It is the Olive Collagen Essence mask, and it's probably like way the heck out of date. Let's see if we have a date code on this sucker. Made in Korea. Gosh, I love Korean skincare. I don't know when this thing went out of. Maybe I you know what? It's possible that I got it at Daiso in San Francisco, 27 years ago. I don't know. It doesn't have a date code that I can see anyway. Oh, wait, no, there it is down at the bottom. Maybe. I can't tell. So anyway, I thought, you know what, I'm going to slap on a face mask and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about something not gardening related and not grandson related, although, the quickie updates on garden and grandson. Have you guys ever seen that magazine Garden and Gun? Oh my gosh, my mother loved Garden and Gun. She had a subscription to it, right? And I kept all of her Garden and Guns. I've got them in cartons out in the container. Garden and Gun, oh, for crying out loud. Anyhow, so Garden and Grandson. Grandson is looking adorable. He still looks so tiny and so unformed. I just don't remember my babies looking so bird-like. It's bird-like babies are kind of new to me. So, but he's perfect in every way. And I got to see him this past Monday. We were all so tired, I forgot to even take pictures. But he looks like he did the last time. So look at my previous video and still looks the same. Hopefully I will see him on Monday. So that's grandbaby stuff. Mother and baby are doing great. Although my son is a nervous wreck. The weight of fatherhood has landed right on his head and taken a big crap. And he just doesn't know which way to go. Should he put money in the college fund, or should he put more in the 401k, or should he stop altogether, take that cash and do something else with it? And, what do I do? What do I do? Should we sell the car? Do we need a different car? Do we need more car seats? I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And he gets this wild glazed look in his eye about, where are we going to send our child to school? I mean, just, So as he's stressing out, but mom's looking real good. She is settling into motherhood beautifully. So God bless her heart. Garden's looking good. The next time I show you the garden, I think I will show it to you in its more or less finished state. I've got a section about 1/5 of the garden maybe even not quite that much, that still needs to be weeded and turned over with a fork, and the paths swept and all that sort of thing. But I should be done with that. As soon as the rain comes and goes, I should be able to get out and get that done. I did start some seedlings. Oh gosh, I haven't started seedlings in forever. My sister does a rather large cutting garden every year. I don't know, maybe it's 1/4 of an acre that she has under cultivation, and she grows whatever is in season at the time. She starts in the spring with everlasting flowers, cutting flowers like I'm drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank? Well, think of flowers that grow tall that you cut and go in a bouquet. That's the stuff she grows. And then she goes through the summer with whatever's in season and ends up in the fall with pumpkins. So it's always a treat to go over to her place and see what's cooking. She does workshops as well, teaching people how to do wreaths primarily, but and then also the pumpkins, they do like a little succulent arrangement inside the pumpkin. It's adorable. Anyhow, so she's kind of got me on this seedling kick again. And so I just put in and I'm watching grow basil, Genovese basil. And right now, it's just little tiny little dicots with their little round pre-leaf leaves, and they just look adorable, and I cannot wait till I get those into a more permanent container setup that I can watch over and water and harvest as the summer goes on. Grant, bless his heart, bought me a rather large marble mortar, like mortar and pestle. It's a round marble bowl. I don't know how many cups it contains. It's pretty big. And it's also got the marble pestle thing that you use to grind. But I'm going to put that away, and I'm going to use my grandmother's wooden grinding pestle, because that's usually how you make traditional pesto. You make it in a marble mortar with some sort of a wooden grinder. So I happen to have my grandmother's wooden set. So that's going to be fun. I'm so looking forward to making pesto and sticking it in little containers and putting it in the freezer just like my grandma and grandpa did. I also just put in sunflowers. I have a seed tray that takes 72 little seed plug, what do you call those? Depressions, I guess. And I planted my 72 pink sunflowers. Pink. I didn't even know sunflowers came in pink. And I was really thrilled to find that out. So I've got them in their little tray, and I'm going to have to run out and get them out of the sun and put them on the porch, because we are going to have rain for the next 3 or 4 days. It's not going to be very much, but I don't want to have my my seedlings disturbed too much with, if there's a downpour or whatever. So I'm going to bring those in. I have planted 2 hauls of free plants from the dumpster at Home Depot. And then Grant and I were over there the other day, and the lady was coming out with her big cart full of all the stuff they were throwing out. And there was a car of people that were waiting, and then we were waiting, and she wheels them out and starts to throw them away. The car of people that were ahead of us, they pulled in front of us, and we were pulled off to the side. And here comes the manager, and he's mad as a wet hen, and he's shaking his fist at us, telling us to move along now, just move along. So what did I learn? I learned, if you're going to steal from the dumpster at Home Depot, You do it at night when that guy's shift is over, and when the garden center doors are closed and there's nobody out there watching you. Now, we've had guys not watching us, but we've had employees out and about when we've gone to make our stealing run. and it's like no big deal. But I'm sure this guy was, see, this is what I think is really going on. I think this dude has a deal with somebody else who shows up as soon as the lady fills the dumpster with all of these plants, and that person shows up and gets all the plants and then slips the manager dude $40 or something. I think it's probably something like that. And I say this because I know somebody in my family whom I love, who I'm not going to out in this video, who did the same damn thing with Trader Joe's. He had this deal going with the dock personnel at Trader Joe's, and when it was time for them to wheel out the stuff that they couldn't keep, he was right there, handed them off their bribe, and loaded up his car with all this food. So I know that's how it works, and I know that I need to get in line behind whoever it is that's buying their way into getting all of those plants for free. And, you know, whatever this dude or woman or people don't take, I'll be right there to just dig out the other little pieces out of the trash. Because often the ones that are left are the plants that look like they're not going to come back. But you bring them home, you give them a haircut, you stick them in the ground, and you put some Miracle-Gro on them, and they're usually just fine. So that was my latest experience. And it's really too bad because, oh my gosh, the absolute embarrassment of riches that was being thrown into that dumpster. I mean, you know, here in California, they've made this law where restaurants can't just throw out their food willy-nilly. They have to separate it. Anything that is in edible condition has to be donated, like to the homeless shelters or whatever. And then the stuff that can't be eaten has to go into a special new receptacle that they're providing that is just for food waste. And it has some damn thing to do with like methane gas or who knows. It's just one more, you know, hoop you got to jump through, right? But if they're going to do that with food, they should be doing that with plants as well. And I'm wondering if maybe that's my next calling, is to get a hold of, you know, the Sacramento folks and say, hey, listen, you know, yeah, so your food's rotting, causing methane gas. What about these petunias, these perfectly good petunias that are now going to rot and throw out methane gas? I think that you should make Home Depot and everybody else gather that stuff up, have 1 week to sell it all for $1. Whatever they can't sell for $1 needs to be donated. Who cares to where? It doesn't matter where. Just because they're being stupid about not letting people take crap out of their dumpsters. And I know that liability is part of it. I mean, if you let people come and dig around in your dumpsters and you don't say something, then if they get hurt and sue you, that's on you as the business owner. So I sort of understand, you know, where they're coming from, sort of, but I don't, because I mean, it's a crime to throw away these beautiful plants. So anyway, that's my latest with the whole gardening deal. And I think next week will be soon enough to show you an update on how things are looking. Golly, what else has been going on? Oh, I've got my thinking cap on. And I am trying to figure out how I can take the resources that I have and turn them into actual money, real money. So I've been thinking a lot about, for example, the restaurant has a commercial kitchen attached to it. The restaurant at Marshall Station where I want to put my store. And I've been thinking that I need to put that into working order and then rent it out as a commissary and catering kitchen to people who, by law, have to use a commissary kitchen in order to be compliant with their catering or with their, hot dog stand or their food truck or their shave ice stand or whatever. And because they are required to do that, and they can and will get shut down if they can't prove that they're being compliant. Whether they use the kitchen or not, it's not even the issue, but they have to jump through the hoops. I'm thinking about maybe putting my kitchen into shape so that I can offer it for rental for that purpose. I still want to do my classes at the store, and I still want to open the store, but that's not going to make money, really. That's a passion project. So if you guys have any ideas about how I could take my crusty old restaurant building and turn it into something that makes money, I am willing to listen. Now, my sister suggested, and I thought this was an intriguing idea, she says, listen, that big old chunk of land you have that's right along the highway? She said, why don't you put that into cultivation and do what I'm doing in my yard, only you do it there. She said, throw up a little gazebo, make sure there's a place where people can drive in and park and then drive out. She said, in addition to doing the cutting garden, and you can have cutting garden hours, she said, people will pay you to come to your garden when it's in full bloom and do things like wedding photos, kid photos, that sort of thing. And she said that's, another income stream. So if I have a number of income streams that I can run from that property, I could, I could start to make some money. And she made this suggestion, and I kind of already knew about this, but I need to really look into it. Because I was talking about my Social Security and how I don't want to do anything that's going to, make that a problem. And she said, that's easy. You just incorporate. You incorporate your business, and you don't pay yourself, or you pay yourself the minimum that you can pay before it rolls over and messes up your Social Security. And then whatever you retain in your business, you turn around and you use that money for improvements. For example, I need to put a new roof on the restaurant building. Now, that's not something I could do the first year or the second year, but maybe by the third year, I might have amassed enough cash to go ahead and put a new roof on. I need to improve the parking on the parking lot, and I need to replace the swamp coolers and blah, 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 blah. There's lots of stuff that I need to do over there. So if I incorporate the business, I can do it, and it doesn't reflect back on my Social Security, as long as I don't pay myself more than I should. So I like that idea. I'm going to think about that idea. God dang it, I can't remember what I was talking about. I had to cut away, but now I'm back. I was talking about making money at the store, putting in a new roof. Okay, I got it. I got to rewind, see what I was talking about. Okay, now I remember. I was talking about incorporating. If I start, really start rocking and rolling with some business ideas. So yeah, I'm doing that. Concurrent with all of that, I am pursuing my dual citizenship in Italy. This has just been interesting. I've done all the research I need to do, and now I am talking to Italian law firms. There's a lot of them out there. I'm talking to 2 just to get information about how to facilitate this process. It's a fascinating process. Italy, Ireland, and I think another 5 or 6 or 7 countries all have this thing called citizenship by blood. In Italian, that's iure sanguinas, which means right of blood, essentially. And if I, which I do, if I fall into certain categories of descent, I am basically already considered an Italian citizen. So some of those things include these conditions. One, your qualifying relative, who is my great-grandfather, cannot have been born before the 1860s, early 1860s, because Italy wasn't a country before then. And my great-grandfather was born in the 1880s. Then he came to the United States in the early 1900s. He married my grandmother, who had come before him. They came from the same village near Genoa. And they married and had 5 kids, including my grandfather, obviously, who was 9 years old when she died in the Spanish flu epidemic. And then the following year, my great-grandfather got his naturalization in the United States. Only naturalization he ever had was in the United States. And so because my grandfather was a minor before, and born actually before my great-grandfather was naturalized, that keeps me in line for Italian citizenship. And then, no one else in my family, my dad, he also was in line for citizenship if he'd known about it. It used to be much more difficult to get than it is now. So anyhow, when I went back with my little checklist and ticked all the boxes, it was like, yeah, okay, I qualify. I'm really, really lucky. I found my great-grandfather's birth certificate online. I can order that from Italy. And then everything else pertaining to my great-grandfather, my grandparents, and my father, it all comes from the Bay Area in California, which is 3 hours away from where I live. So everything else I need, I can get right here in the state of California. Or I already have it, birth certificates and things like that. So my case is pretty easy because everything is so accessible and I know where to go to find it and blah, blah, blah. But, and herein lies the rub. In order to do this, I have to get an appointment with the consulate in San Francisco, which is impossible. And when I say impossible, I mean impossible. Because you have to get your appointment online. You have to go through their particular appointment desk app. And the appointments are released every day around 3 o'clock California time. And the website practically crashes every day with thousands of people trying to get appointments. And 2 or 3 or 4 people get an appointment each day. If I were so lucky as to get an appointment, let's say tomorrow, I can get on the schedule. They are now booking appointments through the consulate in 2028. So it's 4 years away before I'd even be able to get my appointment. And even that's not all that bad. I mean, people can wait years and years and years to get through this process to get their dual citizenship. However, in recent years, the Italian court system has opened up the ability to go through their courts to apply for your citizenship, basically you're suing for citizenship. And you can do it either through a great-grandmother who was denied her right to get her own naturalization, and those are called 1948 cases, or if you try and try and try and you have proof that you've gone online daily and have not been able to get an appointment, then you can take that evidence, which I collect on a daily basis, in the form of screenshots of my little thing that says, sorry, no appointments available today. You can take that and go into court in Italy and say, I've had a denial of justice because I wasn't able to get an appointment in the United States. So I don't know which way this is all going to shake down, but I have a feeling that I will be using that method, the denial of justice method, to go through the courts and to get my citizenship, or at least apply for it. And you know, between now and when that happens, a few years down the road, all kinds of stuff could change. The whole world could change. They could shut it all down, or the U.S. could shut it down. Who knows? Stuff can happen. So I don't know what's going to go down. But in the meantime, I'm gathering all my paperwork together. I'm doing all of my research, which brings me to the question I'm sure you have. Why? What's the point? I don't like to get on an airplane. I'm not going to buy property or move to Italy so I can, die there in the motherland or whatever. So, what's the point? And that's a hard question to answer. In part, it has something to do with honoring my family. I'm half light brown. My dad has no Northern European or Scandinavian in him at all. He's all different shades of light brown. My mother is all Northern European, Scottish, Irish, just Heinz 57 Northern European white girl. So us kids, we were raised in the Catholic tradition, in the Italian tradition, even though Dad was only half Italian. So we were raised with all that, the culture, the food, the crazy family, the screaming relatives, the grudges that were made and held for decades, all of that, the Bay Area relatives, the whole deal. And I took all that stuff for granted when I was a kid, and now I'm an old lady and I look back on my childhood and it's like, there was a wealth of culture there that I just didn't really internalize, and I wish I had. So I want to go back in time and I want to regain that, and I want the passport that will let me go all over the world so much more easily than if I just had an American passport. And I want to overcome my fear of flying, and I want to go back. I want to go back and hang out in or around Genoa, or even in the little village where my great-grandparents were born and raised. It's a fascinating little village, very famous now for its agricultural sustainability stuff. They're really into organic gardening, a lot of projects that have to do with sustainability. It's becoming like almost like an ecotourism destination for people. So, I'm all about that. I'm all about olive trees, basil plants, garlic, marble statues of naked people. I mean, I love all that stuff. So I want to go back and just kind of, soak that up. Also, it's not too far from Spain, where I have ancestral roots, and Portugal, where I have ancestral roots. So I'm thinking that my version of world travel is going to be going back to, my dad's family's homeland and soaking up that. So anyway, that's still in the future, and I have to get that far. Who knows if I'm going to get that far. But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. I'm continuing to lose weight. I'm eating correctly. I'm now exercising on a daily basis. I'm out pulling weeds and raking things and walking around in the yard and just, you know, I'm being busy. I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm taking my vitamins. I'm doing, you know, I'm doing what I need to do to get myself in the most tippy-top shape I can be in to like live out however many days I have left with joy and purpose and a sense of wonder. So that is where I have been coming from recently. And the next video, I will show you the finished product on my front yard. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you guys later. Bye.